All right, welcome into the NIL Lounge. Caleb Lohner, a 6'8" senior forward for the Baylor basketball team. Caleb, thanks so much for joining.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, I'm your host, Andrew Miner with the NIL Report. And Caleb, again, thanks so much for joining, carving some time out. The season's right around the corner, and thought you'd be a great person to come on and share kind of some of your experiences about NIL and what NIL means to you, and any advice that you can offer other current athletes. I think there's a lot of different people commenting on NIL, but you rarely get to hear from the athletes themselves actually, playing the sports. So really appreciate you coming on here and lending your insight. I'll just start. What does NIL mean to you? What do you think of it when you hear that?
When I think of NIL, even with my few years of experience, when NIL's been kind of this new thing, when I hear NIL, all I think at this point is athletes are able to take advantage of their platforms, whether it be social media, on the court, through their popularity, and maximize those things to make themselves money. And I actually think it's been a great thing. I mean, I think a lot of it right now is also the Wild West as well. But I do think it's been beneficial for athletes that have taken advantage of it and gone about it the right way.
Yeah, no, definitely. In your experience and just from talking to your peers there at Baylor and probably across, at other schools, what has been the general consensus of how they go about getting deals? How do you go about searching for deals and looking to maximize your NIL in a way that enhances your brand?
I think it kind of depends. And through my experience, again, this is such a new thing. I don't know if there's a right or
Yeah,
wrong answer, but I think connectivity through the universities has been really big, depending on different businesses, small businesses, local businesses, national businesses that feed their way through the university, I think has been a way that people have found deals. I also just think the connection through people, whether it's family, whether it's a friend's family, I don't know, wherever it may come from, finding different connections to try and figure yourself out a deal or be of value to a certain company in some way, shape, or form.
definitely. And to share a little bit of insight on your journey, you started off at BYU and then transferred over to Baylor, kind of right in the middle of when NIL was first getting off, the ground floor, right, so to speak. For those that don't know, how would you describe your journey, your basketball journey from going? Because I know you kind of in high school transferred to a different academy, from Texas to Utah, then played BYU and then transferred to Baylor. How would you describe your journey?
My journey has been awesome, and I've met the coolest people, the best coaches, the best friends, and I wouldn't trade my journey for anyone else's. But I played 2 years, 2.5 years of high school basketball where I grew up in Flower Mound, Texas, played for Flower Mound High School. And then the middle of my junior year, I transferred to Wasatch Academy to finish out that junior year of my high school season there and my senior year there as well. My senior year, that's kind of when COVID and everything happened. And so
Yeah.
following that, I went to BYU for 2 years, which was great. I loved my experience there and then decided to transfer and come play at Baylor for Coach Scott Drew.
Yeah, and I know one of the reasons that you've mentioned in the past on coming to, on deciding Baylor was just about the culture that Scott Drew and the team has. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like what exactly drew you to his team?
I think what you said earlier, his preach of culture of joy, right? And you hear all these people talk about their different schools of culture and different connectivity of different teams. But for me, it was when from the time I was young, he had recruited me and I had been up in Baylor's campus and spent time with a lot of those coaches on the staff. And I think just when I came on my visit, it was like a reaffirming feeling that Baylor's just, it's different. The way they do it is different. The feeling in the gym, the feeling between the players and the coaches, and the commitment to excellence is just a little bit different. And for someone like me, I'm always chasing the next great big thing. And I wanted to be somewhere where I was going to develop, I was going to have people invested in me, helping me become better every single day. And iron sharpens iron. And in my mind, I wanted to be around the best players. I wanted to be around future NBA guys and some people that I can go against every single day. And so when I came, just being able to feel this connectivity between everybody was really big. And people say it all the time, but it truly is special what Coach Drew and the staff have created down here at Baylor. And I'm super blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah, would you say that's the main reason that that you transferred, kind of looking for that next opportunity, so to speak, to get to the next level?
Say that one more time.
Oh yeah, would you say that's one of the main reasons you transferred, to kind of get to the next level, find a another opportunity to kind of grow your game and develop as a person?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. And I think culturally, just being around people that, like I said, have the same level and commitment to excellence as you, and being around great people, not only on the court but off, is also a big thing. And I've grown so much as a man. I've grown so much as a player. Grown so much as a student, and so I've been super blessed and fortunate to spend this time here at Baylor.
How has been being in that culture and the growth that you've seen in yourself? How's that translated to when you're talking with businesses, or talking about NIL? It might be doing a deal, or might just be networking in general. But how have you seen that translate?
I think it's translated in a lot of ways. I think kind of figuring out this sense of who I am personally, not just as a player, but kind of as my own individual. And you also think about NIL. NIL has just been a representation of who the individual is. The NIL is name, image, and likeness. And so I think taking pride in, you represent yourself, you represent your own brand, has really helped me, because I think once NIL came into the scene, it was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take all these things that I've learned. I'm going to take kind of this journey of life that I've been on, all these experience, bundle them up together, and just continue to push myself forward and represent myself in a fashionable, classic way, and let the chips fall where they may.
Sure. What would you say you've learned most about NIL business, being involved in that? What have you learned the most that maybe you weren't expecting to, uncover or discover about yourself?
I think one thing I've learned is relationships are super valuable. Relationships now, relationships down the road, and relationships in connection to business with this NIL thing. I think relationships have driven a lot, and it's also helped me reflect too and value my relationships with coaches, teammates, staff, fellow students, and just value every opportunity I get with other people. I think that's been a big learning point for me.
Yeah. And you talk a lot about, new experiences, different experiences, the culture. The Baylor team this past summer went to France on an international trip to, be culturally immersed, play some basketball. Can you just talk about that trip a little bit? What the best parts were for you in that experience?
Yeah, that trip was incredible. It really was such a great time for us as a team to come together, spend some time with the staff, be in a place that's, different than Waco, Texas. And it allowed us to get out, have some freedom, see things that you're probably not going to get a ton of opportunities in life to see. So it was a special trip. And I also think it was a special trip, just the way we kind of came together as a group. Learned a lot about each player, all my teammates there. We spent almost all of our time together. There was never a dull moment. It was always on to the next thing. Off seeing some new place, off trying some new food, but all just spending the super quality time together. And I honestly think that'll benefit us on the court. And so I'm super grateful for Baylor for putting that together, and the coaches giving us that freedom to be, one as a team. And so I had a blast. It's an experience and trip that I'll never forget. And so I'm super, super fortunate to be on that trip.
Yeah, I always find that the road trips are kind of what, expedite the bonding experience between teammates. And you were on the team last year. You guys had a great season. But did that trip open up anything new, or was there like one particular experience that was, funny or really revealing, that you can share on that trip that sticks out in your mind?
You know, I think every experience that we had was all so different. But I will point out that when we were on that trip, it was what I noticed personally is that there wasn't a lot of clicks within the team. Usually on traditionally on certain teams, you have kind of your different cliques or group of people, whether it's some of the older guys or some of the middle class, the freshmen kind of all sticking together. And one thing I picked out is that we were just kind of all mingled together. There wasn't any cliques. There wasn't, best friend and best friend off in the corner. It was everybody together, everybody spending time with a different person. And it was overall just such a great experience to not only bond as a team, but just to get to know my teammates individually. And I think, like I said earlier, those relationships are going to last a lifetime. And so super blessed.
Yeah, definitely. That's really interesting because you're definitely right. There are clicks here and there sometimes on different teams. Looking into the season ahead, the season's right around the corner for you guys. What goes through your mind of like trying to be a leader, supporting the team, obviously on the court and playing, but just, I know there's some new guys on Baylor coming in. What do you kind of see your role as, and from a leadership perspective?
As a leadership perspective, I see myself really having a big influence on a lot of the players. And I'm just going to continue every day to do my best to be the best leader I can be the best example I can be, especially for some of these guys. This will be my fourth year of college basketball. And so I'd say I have a little experience under my belt at this point. And I still every day am trying to grow, but in any way I can, I'm trying to share any kind of wisdom that I do have with some of these guys and trying to do my best just to be a glue and help this team stay together because throughout the season there's going to be times where it's up and down, and I think this is a special group of guys, and so just trying to do my best to be a leader, hold everyone together, hold people accountable, but at the same time just be one big family.
Yeah, and you're right. There are ups and downs in any season for any team. I know last year, you personally, I think, if you look at the box score, probably nothing jumps out the page for the latter part of the season. But then you had that great game, hit all your shots in the NCAA tournament, helped the Bears get a key win in the first round. How do you stay focused through those valleys, to just kind of keep staying true to yourself, like block out all the noise? I'm curious, from a player perspective, how you personally deal with that.
Yeah, and I think everyone's still kind of learning what works for them. But for me, I think where I've found a little bit of peace is just bringing the same energy every day, bringing the same consistency, having routine, developing great habits, and just beating the drum every single day. Coming in with a great mindset to work, smile a little bit while we're on the court. This is a great time of our lives where we get to play basketball in front of fans and represent the university in such a great way. And so remembering like, hey, we are so blessed and gifted to do this, to play this game that we love, to not get bogged down too much by the result.
Mhm.
And I also think we are the accountable ones for the way we play. And if there's a problem with the way we play, let's get back to the drawing board. Let's watch some film. Let's work on the things we need to work on and continue to just beat the drum every day.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, saying that you kind of have your own ways to block out the noise and kind of center yourself. Just based on your Instagram, you're very like outdoorsy person, love to surf, hiking, doing a lot of different hobbies that you have. You've talked about like restoring cars and playing guitar in the past. What would it is like maybe your top two hobbies that you love to do away from the basketball court, and how has that helped you kind of just stay well-rounded, centered?
If you ask me that question tomorrow, my answer might be different. So I don't know if I can give you a one or two activities that are my top, because like I said, tomorrow it might be something else.
Sure.
But what I will say is that just the way I live my life and the way that I've found makes me the happiest is having a balance. I think especially in our day and age, we get so caught up in work, 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 work. And, you know, every single day it's this constant go, 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 go. Well, I've found a lot of peace in my life and a lot of joy from having just a balance in all things basketball, with friends and, social time, and then also all these other extracurricular activities like surfing, restoring cars, anything that makes my mind move in a certain way, building things. I'm super mechanical. I love using my hands and projects, and I think that's why I love basketball and I love sports, because to me it's a project, right? It's trying to build and see how far you can get to the top. And yeah, again, I believe in a balance in life. That's just what works for me. I'm not saying that works for everybody, but I find a joy in this world, and doing all things, being outside and just having the most fun I possibly can have, while also maintaining a pretty rigorous work schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say for sure. I don't know where you find the time for it all. Caleb, the upcoming basketball season is set to be another great one. A lot of new teams in the Big 12 conference, including Houston. So you have some highly ranked teams in the conference. Baylor is getting a new stadium on campus this year that you guys are. The plan is to move into in January and play there. Anything specific to you? It might be one of those things. It might be something else that you're really looking forward to this season. Um,
That new arena.
yeah.
We've been hearing about it for so long now, and there's guys on the team that hearing about it way longer than I have. I've only been here 2 years, and I'm excited for it. And it all the credit for that building goes to all the Baylor people who had their hand in it, and all the past players that have helped build this program to what it is today. But man, I'm excited to be in there. We actually they posted something on Instagram today on the Baylor page, and it was showing the updates and the construction going on in there, and it's looking close. It finally, you can look at a picture and see, oh, that's the arena. All right, that's where people are going to sit. This is where the benches are going to be, and so that got me super pumped today to see that.
That's yeah, I can't imagine the buzz around the team, especially if you've been hearing about it, to see it kind of finally come to fruition. So that should be definitely pretty cool for sure.
Yeah.
Caleb, drawing it back to NIL, I wanted to kind of go through that journey, kind of your background and stuff, because I think a lot of what you said there kind of relates to NIL, in terms of being well-rounded, like relationships, trying out different experiences, because you never know what could lead to something else. But you've been in it, like you said, you've been playing college basketball going on 4 years here. What would be your advice to future basketball or future athletes, current athletes, on when they start to think and strategize about NIL?
I would say just to kind of be who you are, represent yourself in a way that you're proud of, and if you want to be out there and work for it and try to find the right positions to make yourself an extra dollar and develop a relationship with a business, do it. I think there's no bad opportunity. There's no negative experience. It's all learning. And NIL has honestly helped me a lot learn just kind of how real life works more of a way in the business world. I would say I've learned more through NIL, through relationships and connections than I have in a classroom when it comes to the business atmosphere. And so my advice would just to be kind of dip your feet in, immerse yourself a little bit, and just take every little nugget you can and learn.
That's awesome. Caleb, thanks again for joining. Good luck in this upcoming season. No
Thank you.
exciting things are in Waco. So best of luck to you. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.